What's happening, fandoms? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here,
we react to music videos and shows.
Today, we are going to be doing something a little different. I've been watching the new Rockstars Easter eggs and breakdowns for the Marvel and Star Wars shows for years now. But since we're now covering a lot of those shows, I figured we would watch them with you.
Yeah.
And if you're not familiar with new Rockstars, you should check them out. They have tons of amazing content. Their main guy normally does these breakdowns, but he's on vacation getting married. So we're gonna have the lovely Jessica Walters instead. So Jessica is going to be doing the breakdown
for proxying for him.
Yep, episode 1 of She-Hulk. We're gonna get Easter eggs and breakdowns, and these are always great.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Jessica Clemens, and while Voss was busy falling in love and getting married, lucky, he asked me to help break down the She-Hulk series for you. This first episode is so fun and funny, and I didn't know cousins could be so close. I have a ton of cousins, but we hate each other. Every time we're together, we just fight. Let's just break down this first episode shot by shot, take a look at all the MCU Easter eggs and details we missed. Like Voss, I promise to keep this business and professional, and I won't bark for She-Hulk. Let's get into it.
The Marvel Studios title card has now been updated with a shot of Our Lady Thor from Thor Love and Thunder, replacing his last name Rocket. And then they put back on the M after Thor Love and Thunder my Jordan-wearing, dragon-riding Shang-Chi from Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings.
We open to a close-up of Jennifer Walters giving what at first feels like her audition tape for She-Hulk, but she's actually practicing her closing argument in her office. We have a little clip right here.
What is the responsibility of those with power? Do they merely have an obligation to refrain from the misuse of that power? Or do they have a duty to protect those without it?
Okay, so this opening perfectly reflects what we'll see between lawyer Jennifer Walters, just wanting to be an anonymous lawyer, and She-Hulk, icon, superhero, public figure extraordinaire, who at times in the comics has been known to use her name and presence unjustifiably. I mean, who wouldn't? You're a Hulk. As she practices, the camera pans out and we slowly get a full view of Jen's very 30 lawyer-like office. She's a busy woman and she works hard for the money.
I work hard for the money.
The lawyery type female-driven show is already presenting itself, and I stand for it. We see some books: Barron's Business Law, Courtroom 101, her encyclopedias, Badass Women by Rachel Walsh and Bill O'Neill.
I suspect that's a picture with her uncle. Seeing as the stylized credits, we see a courtroom illustration of her family at dinner, and that man resembles the bald-headed glasses-wearing fellow.
We have a bobblehead of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Michelle Obama, a little Ally McBeal, the graduating Barrington Wisdom class owl, along with another little owl below. Owls and lawyers have similar connections. They're intelligent, wise, efficient, they're nocturnal, plus they're just birds of prey, so they're recognized as the animals who represent a lot of law schools and departments. A ton of UCLA swag, along with her 2 degrees from UCLA. We're introduced to her 2 colleagues: the cheery, supportive best friend, Nikki Ramos, played by Ginger Gonzaga, the paralegal who's basically a lawyer trainee. They provide support to the lawyers, they can interview clients and witnesses and prepare documents for court. They're still very important folks. And underwhelmingly unsupportive Dennis Bukowski, played by Drew Matthews. Dennis in the comics was the assistant district attorney alongside Jennifer Walters, and they both hated each other. He was obnoxious and super annoying. I mean, just look at him. Behind Dennis, we get a nice framed photo of the Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles.
That's
right. This takes place in Cali, let me remind you. Behind Nikki, we get the traditional brass Justice weighing scales, which is completely for Jen doing law with no connection to Moon Knight. Khonshu, can you hear me? I'll be your vessel. We see Jennifer Walters, deputy district attorney, on her front door. Our girl is a prosecutor with her own office. The deputy district attorneys commonly work under the district attorney. This is also when Nikki mentions Jen was handpicked to go up against GLKH. And what we know from the trailers up until this point is 1, GLKH stands for Goodman, Lieber, Kurtzberg, and Holloway, which is an homage to Martin Goodman, the founder of Atlas Comics that later became Marvel. Lieber for Stan Lee's real last name, and Kurtzberg for Jack Kirby's formal last name. And Holloway, who is for Holden Holloway, the attorney at GLKH that hires She-Hulk to be the face of the firm's new superhero law division. And 2, they are prosecuting GLKH? That means this is probably a test by Holden to see Jen, aka She-Hulk, really at work. During the comics, Holloway offered the job to an intoxicated She-Hulk in a bar, but he always tested her limits and expected a lot from her. He could be testing her right now with Titania. We see a second pair of clothes, suit, jacket, and bottoms to cover Jen in case she hulks out. Additionally, a lot of lawyers keep extra clothes at their office for all-nighters, but I'm sure Jennifer has also learned her lesson from ripping out of her clothes. This is when Jen breaks the 4th wall. It's so satisfying. Not only have we seen similar scenes like this in Fleabag, I have to. That's my Fleabag tattoo. Saved by the Bell. Even Deadpool beautiful. This gag is comedy stage media gold, separating fact from fiction. It shows that they don't take themselves too seriously, but also can give us, the audience, much more information. My years in theater and improv have led to this moment. If I were She-Hulk, or even just a lawyer, I'd need some help coping with the stress of it all. And that's normal. A lot of people could use a little help, and that's why there's BetterHelp. This video is sponsored by BetterHelp. If you think you might be feeling depressed, stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, p.com/newrockstars for 10% off your first month. We transition to Bruce and Jen's trip driving through the woods of California. It's playing Money on It by Together Pangea, a band based out of Santa Clarita, California. This episode oozes California 30-something-year-old regardless, but the added music is sort of an indie Cali vibe, so a mini bonus.
Yeah.
Nice.
We find out Bruce has been able to stay in human form because he created the device called the inhibitor, though keep in mind it hasn't fully helped him heal. We saw him wearing in Shang-Chi, and head writer Jessica Gao has confirmed that this now takes place a little after Shang-Chi. We've seen variations of the inhibitor before. In Captain Marvel, the Kree created a photon inhibitor to control Captain Marvel's cosmic powers. In X-Men, the inhibitor collar was in Days of Futures Past. Also in Deadpool 2, they used the collars to neutralize the mutants' powers. Inhibitor simply means to slow down or prevent a particular chemical reaction, which I believe ultimately Smart Hulk is doing to stay in Bruce form. Eating hot Cheetos with chopsticks is, I kid you not, the only way I'll eat them, and for the same exact reason. You don't want to get it on your fingers. Also, let us not forget who started this trend, Moon Knight. When Jen said, "You're not the only genius in the family," Bruce retorts,
No, there's also Chet.
At the end, we get to a montage of courtroom illustrations. This one says mom, dad, aunt, uncle, and cousin. I assume that Chet is the cousin. The uncle is wearing glasses. Mom and dad are on the right, so that leaves one of these last women as the aunt. This could be Cassandra Pike from the comics. Jen's aunt on her dad's side. She's a biologist and won a Nobel Prize for biology. She's also pretty evil in the comics. She tries to kill her brother and niece She-Hulk using her son, in this case Ched, after giving him injections to become a giant monster. So the quotes around aunt could stem from an unhappy relationship between the two.
Like us, Jen has some theories. Truly, all her theories are whether or not Steve Rogers had sex and when. Which, don't worry, we'll get into because the mid-credit scene is a doozy. We get a glimpse of the Sakaar ship. We later learn specifically it's a Sakarian Class A courier craft, a postman if you will, or someone serving a subpoena to Bruce, possibly. This could be from the Grand Master. The ship in Thor Ragnarok, the Commodore, looked exactly like this. Either way, this ties to Thor Ragnarok, and I bet they're looking for their top-tier fighter after stealing the prize ship from the Grand Master. Or we could be getting into World War Hulk and Skaar, son of Hulk.
After the Illuminati sent Hulk into space away from Earth for being too reckless, he landed on Sakaar, creating a home there, even finding love and a wife. The ship he arrived on explodes, killing his pregnant wife and a lot of people in the city he made. He goes to Earth, storms up a bunch of chaos, and kills a ton of folks. It's revealed the child didn't actually die. He emerged from a cocoon. Skaar is super sick, super hardcore, but
I just don't think that major scene would be played out in She-Hulk, but you let me know what you guys think in the comments. Where in the comics she was shot and we got a blood transfusion from Bruce that changed Jennifer to She-Hulk. This is technically another type of blood transfusion, just not as thorough. This is great to note how strong Bruce's blood is, which yes, we already knew, but the fact that like most viruses die on a hint of mass oxygen, this clearly does not, and it can impair someone by a teaspoon's worth. Be it the leader whose brain started acting weird in Incredible Hulk, or Blonsky, who with an already petri dish of other concoctions turned into Abomination. Though Hulk's blood isn't the be-all end-all superhero drug, the amount of gamma radiation in it is still lethal. So where it worked for She-Hulk, seeing as they share the rare genetic factor, it makes sense it would work on her. Shoot, it maybe works on her mom, but don't bet on any normal civilian every time. We get the sad shot of Jen, now She-Hulk, outline reflection on the green crushed door and her silhouette as she backs up and runs away into the forest like a crazed werewolf. This scene is so funny to me. The transformation scenes in most movies are. She awakens at Ideal Sports Bar. Very funny name for a sports bar. And also a real sports bar in Atlanta, Georgia. Crickets rocks on gas. In the MCU, the Roxxon Corporation has been seen in Loki during the storm. In the first Iron Man, they fought near the Roxxon Corporation building. In Agent Carter, it's revealed that they created the atomic bomb based on the formula by Howard Stark. In She-Hulk comics, She-Hulk prosecutes them when Danger Man accidentally falls into a vat of hard atomic water on the job. Roxxon is a huge, powerful petroleum industrial company, and they usually do a lot of shady stuff in the comics. Jen sneaks past the bouncer in the hallway. There's a sign that reads Ladies Night. When you actually use the QR code, it takes you to the Marvel website that offers you the first issue of She-Hulk free to read, along with some special promotion. Additionally, in the bathroom, there's some lovely graffiti. We have the Miss Marvel lightning bolt, which is funny because if this takes place during 2024, Miss Marvel takes place sometime in 2025, who pre-drew this? And in California, no less. Possibly someone anticipating the arrival of Miss Marvel. Someone like Kang, who we will see in Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania, that'll probably take place in California. Kang just stopped by this dive bar and on his way to Northern California and straight up graffitied the crap out of it. We see Rest in Peace Biggie from Biggie Smalls, if you don't know. Don't Stop Get It used in tons of songs, but I think its origins are by Luke, I Wanna Rock. I know this because Two Live Crew who remixed it. Don't listen to either if you're under 18. A little spider, not Spider-Man. If you sprinkle when you tinkle, be a sweetie, wipe the seedy. And then the infamous Sword of Anarchy symbol, infamous 420 with a peace sign and a 0. Not a single Thanos is right in sight. It's ladies' night. And what's ladies' night without a bunch of ladies helping ladies in the bathroom? I can't tell you how many ladies' nights I've been to where it becomes a drunk girl's night out in the bathroom. Those people become my best friends immediately, just like these helpful bunch. Played by Monica Garcia Bradley, Tiffany Denise Hobbs, Tony Bryce, and Ariana Marie Hagen. I love these Atlanta queens, and I'm so happy they're showcasing supportive women, just women helping women. We need that. She-Hulk donned a Led Zeppelin t-shirt, and I think those are swim trunks. We can assume these are Tony's clothes, seeing as Tony loved rock and roll. The Black Sabbath t-shirt, in the first Iron Man, he's in a small truck with soldiers listening to AC/DC, Back in Black. He listens to AC/DC a lot. Plus, they're on the coast of Mexico at a beach house. You need trunks, my dude. These little glimpses and reminders he'll never be forgotten tear me apart in the show. As Jen walks out to this beautiful, rich beachfront estate, we see some little Tony Hulk treasures, like the Iron Legion armor droid helmet from Age of Ultron. I suspect this is the helmet Ultron is first seen wearing. It matches the degree of damage. In the movie, they also remove their mask when the machine laser beamed their eyes, so I'm thinking it's just the junk pieces from that moment. Behind her, peep the subtle helmet there. That's Hulk's helmet he wore in the ring during Thor Ragnarok. It's insane he still has it. It's also not the only piece of swag brought back from Sakaar, I suspect, but we'll get back into that in just a moment. We also see a sand hourglass, some boats, driftwood art, maybe for the sandy beach aesthetic. It's definitely their relaxed spot. Tony Stein's bunker is insane. This is where Bruce spent the 18 months fixing himself. Look at all the Stark equipment, the similar gear used to monitor Hawkeye in Age of Ultron when he was getting new tissue. In the first Iron Man, the gear behind him when he's asking Pep to take out his heart. As Voss said in the trailer breakdown, we see the X-ray of Jen's brain. We have different vials of Jen's green blood lying around. While she was out, he was able to get blood, X-rays, literally everything. We also see the schematics of the inhibitor behind him. This slow zoom when Jen mentions she's changed, realizing she's a Hulk, is so fun, and for the visual storytelling enhances the emotion of the scene. And I love when movies do it, like we're creating the same chaotic realization for both the character and the audience. It's also so dramatic, unnecessarily dramatic. We find out that Jen and Bruce share a rare combination of genetic factors, so like I said earlier, what would have been a lethal dose for most was not for Jen. Jen's blood is slightly different. The way it synthesizes gamma radiation was able to fully heal Bruce's arm. When channeling a distressed emotion, Jen offers Pixar's Inside Out. The scene, spoiler, when Bing Bong dies, he dies, okay? It's dramatic. Who's your friend that likes to play? I can't listen to it. We also see the Saws, Stark Industry, and Jen's right. What psycho has this torture bunker?
Do you normally use this chamber for, you psychopath?
When Bruce says casually how he changes back to Bruce form is by falling out of a plane like in the first Avengers, or he gets knocked out by a robot as Tony as Hulkbuster, or Natasha would tell him a lullaby both in Age of Ultron. Hey big guy, sun's getting real low. He mentions his time on Sakaar, him being stuck as Hulk for 2 years during Thor Ragnarok. All these callbacks are worth going back and watching because I just love them. Dialectical behavior therapy is a psychotherapy that started with treating personality disorder and interpersonal conflict. In this case, definitely being a Hulk. And a reminder, Hulk participated in yoga to help him in Incredible Hulk. He mentions Jen reverts back to Jen form when she sleeps, which is also what she did in the comics in very funny ways. Like when she wakes up from having men over and has to revert back before they notice. If stress and high heart rate changes you into Hulk form, it would make sense when you're unconscious you revert back to
sexually active.
The song playing is Fast Motion by my girl Sweet Tea. She's active in this video, sprinting, playing soccer, football, cheerleading. It's all about the hype and hard work, just like what Bruce got Jen about to be doing, effortlessly I might add. Get ready for these lady pump-up jams. Let's go through the physical skills he teaches Jen. I love their competitive nature, but also that boulder that Hulk just tossed is gonna be a meteor to some poor ship or planet. His infamous Hulk jump or leap, if you will. We've seen it done many a times in Age of Ultron when he saves Natasha or when he saves Tony mid-fall in the first Avengers movie. What I love about this scene is where a smart Hulk is taking this seriously, Jen is like, this is easy, and makes fun of him the complete time. Balance in yoga, which Jen is now a full-fledged pro at.
This Hulk ground pound, which to me, Jen looks much better at, just saying.
Bruce says,
Jen, when you have powers like this, it's like putting a target on your back and the backs of all the people you care about.
Which is so true. I know she's upset at this point, but in the comics, this is how her best friend died. In 1980 run of She-Hulk, Jill Stevens offered to help all the time when it came to her best friend Jennifer Walters. At a neighbor's barbecue, Jen got a call to come pick up some stuff from the DA's office. Jill offered to pick it up instead. Once she left, they realized it was a trap, and unfortunately, they cut Jen's brake lines in the car, and in a horrible collision, Jill died. Jill does resemble Nikki Ramos in She-Hulk series, but I don't think it's her, and I don't want it to be her. But for story purposes, it might be good if she dies. Smart Hulk is making the world's largest martini, and like Steve Steve Rogers, it takes too much to get these two drunk. And cool, you'll always be buzzed but never drunk. I drink to get drunk, you guys. Also, this sounds so expensive. Is it even worth it? From a later shot, there's about 30 empty bottles. Yes, some are wine bottles, but regardless, if each bottle is $20, give or take, that's around $600 wasted. Okay, I'm done being irritated, but this logically doesn't make sense, and I want them to stop.
It has to be more than that.
Whatever. Behind Hulk is a Hulk pinata, perhaps a souvenir from the celebration of Hulk on Sakaar. They had the helmet earlier, we saw the ship, we're keeping Sakaar on the back burner always. Later, we see a different angle from the bar where we see another cutout of Hulk, Smug Hulk, am I right? We see the initials BB for Bruce Banner and TS for Tony Stark carved into the bar.
Yeah,
Bruce gets into the time he spent with Tony creating the bar, which was during the blip. And it's sad to reminisce, but I think we're getting to a spot in the MCU when thinking of Tony shouldn't make you sad, you lost him, but happy at the memories they got to make with him. A good time during a hard time, which She-Hulk is adjusting to as well. We get the Hulk thunderclap. We last saw him using this in Incredible Hulk. This move extinguished rubble, turned boulders to rubble, smacks the crap out of your foes. The thunderclap shockwave destroyed, and it's fun seeing both Hulk and She-Hulk using it, though She-Hulk feels like a thunder applause. Thank you. I'll be here all night. Jen breaks the fourth wall again, this time as She-Hulk, but this time Hulk hears her. And maybe she'll start to recognize you can't just do that anywhere. Like in Fleabag, people notice. And in Fleabag season 2, the priest interacts with her, interacting with the camera. He acknowledges it a lot, so perhaps later down the line, we can see someone close to her recognizing what she's doing. Just added fun. Jen is now carving her name into the rebuilt bar, now called Bruce's Bar. The two have settled down and enjoy their hot Cheetos with chopsticks. I think it's cute that Hulk's are party size. Again, his metabolism is hefty. He's always eating small amounts. The tiny tacos in Endgame, the party size bag of chips. Just give this man a damn buffet. Am I allowed to curse in this? We pan out of the shot from the courtroom illustrator to see GLK-H giving their closing statements to Judge Price, who we see in the recent trailers and recognize as being transformed into an Asgardian type elf. So if that's still Judge Price is beyond me right now, but the defendant is played by Brandon Hirsch. We also get our first look at Holden Holloway, played by Steve Coulter. Titania is seen busting through the courtroom, played by Jamila Jamil. Titania in the comics has hated She-Hulk from basically the jump because she wins time and time again one-on-one with She-Hulk. But I suspect with the other trailer footage where we see Titania everywhere, she was hired to break through the courtroom so they could see Jennifer Walters change to She-Hulk. Like I said earlier, I think it was all orchestrated by Holden Holloway, who is a shady fucking man. Should I try saying shady man? Keep the F out? You can blur it. We'll bleep it. Jen punches Titania into next week and she slips her heels back on, ready to give her closing statement to a damn classic by Eve, Who's That Girl? It's such a bop. Basically the song announcing the Queen Bee has just arrived and you're all gonna wonder who she is. In the credits, we see a courtroom-like illustration montage, one of which is a board-like presentation by Jen to Hulk at Bruce's bar, piecing together whether or not Captain America is a virgin. Links to Peggy Carter, a faceless woman, and then what we can expect is a USO showgirl. And so let's get into this. Jen, fake drunk, gets Smart Hulk to spill some beans on Steve Rogers being a virgin. They even call back to the gorgeous Steve Rogers' butt.
Did you see that ass? Like, that ass did not deserve to die a virgin.
It's revealed he does indeed get down. He lost his virginity to a girl in 1943 on the USO tour. Now, Jen's presentation may lead you to believe it was a USO dance girl, but I think that she thinks that the unnamed 1940s girl was either a dancer or a random woman. I think it's Laura Haddock, aka the autograph seeker in Captain America's first movie, aka Star-Lord's mom. Laura Haddock played Meredith Quill as well. The two roles are not related at all, I don't think. Meredith Quill was born in 1961. This girl was an adult by the 40s. But come on, the scene's too on the nose. They definitely hooked up. I mean, I would. That's everything I spotted in the first episode of She-Hulk. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Lulu_Clemens. Follow New Rockstars. Subscribe to New Rockstars for more breakdowns of everything you love. Thanks for watching. Bye, dudes.
Pretty awesome. Love it.
What was your favorite Easter egg or secret that they were?
They did a lot at his bar. It's there's Iron Man mask, and then the other one was just hidden, like the Hulk mask.
His helmet.
It's his helmet, and also the Hulk, the one that they got to from Mexico.
Right.
And other things there. I mean, we figured out the BB and the TS thing.
Yeah, that was pretty easy.
Obvious. But I mean, the other one that we didn't, at the bathroom, that was pretty surprising. There are a lot there.
The thing about these breakdowns is they they take it and they go frame by frame, and they look at all the details, which you just can't do while you're watching it. That's why I love to watch these, because they do that.
They also name some rap group that are non-exist anymore, like, you know, Two Live Crew and all that stuff. That those are, you know, the days are the raps that we love.
Old
the
school
old school
stuff. I personally
and the Marvel stuff too.
Really like all of the I like how they break out details from the comics and bring in panels from the comics, because that's pretty
surprising too.
I've never been a comic guy. I just didn't get into it. I had friends that were into comics, but I just didn't do the comic stuff. But I love the cinematic stuff, and the fact that there are tie-ins from
the movie and the comics.
Some of these comics are 60, 70 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, this is ancient history from like back when these characters were created. And so some of it helps drive these stories and some of it doesn't. And so it's interesting to see, you know, which pieces they choose to bring forward into the cinematic universe, which pieces they leave behind. Like, they do make changes and subtle things, but it can really inform how
expensive the comics now. They're worth a lot of money.
Sure. If you have good condition collectible versions of those, they are.
I know my brother has tons of that. So I'm like, I go,
Yeah, but that's probably my favorite piece of these, is being able to really have demonstrated all the little ties to the comics and see the panels themselves.
And also makes you understand about, you know, us reacting to the movie itself, and it makes you understand where all this, you know, they depict all those stuff. Like, for example, on her office, it's all woman empowerment about, you know.
Yep. A lot of that stuff you just can't see unless you slow it down.
Yeah.
It's there basically for this kind of thing, because they really do, the showrunners, they really do pack a lot of things into these scenes that the casual observer will never see.
Right.
They cannot soak in all of that stuff. But when you do break it down frame by frame like that, they really do an incredible job of populating the world and making it real.
Right. And I really enjoyed it. It's just, I'm like, I go, wow, that's a lot of woman empowerment, from the books to
Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Michelle Obama and
and many other things. And school that she went with, and now we know that she's in LA.
Right.
But I knew she was in LA, but I thought it was just, maybe she's just there for a day or two.
But she graduated from UCLA. So definitely an LA centric show.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And they feature a lot of local artists as well, meaning as in like, you know, bands, artists, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that it definitely is neat to have those things called forward and see a couple of shots from their videos. And these that they do, New Rockstars does an amazing job. They have great research that they do, and they edit these perfectly so that it really is so super informative. Just see how fast she was talking. Like, they've got a lot to get through.
A lot of info. Yeah.
So much information and so much work and love goes into this.
And then you have to have a passion about the topic that you talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta be a geek at it, you know.
Totally, 100%. All of them at New Rockstars.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them, but
you gotta geek out on this.
They are major geeks.
Yeah.
And that is a compliment. So if you are not already a fan or a subscriber of New Rockstars, you should immediately go there, because their content is
pretty awesome,
stunning, and amazing.
And also, thank you again for tuning into our channel. We're gonna put the links in the description below.
Yeah.
And thank you again for don't forget to watch our review for She-Hulk, our first episode.
Yeah, episode 1 reaction is up.
Absolutely.
We'll have a link in the description.
And thank you again for your love and your support to our channel. We really appreciate your suggestions and recommendations. Thank you again, and see you in the next video.